The Protection Paladin is the toughest tank in Cataclysm. AoE tanking, boss tanking, it simply doesn't matter. You have the most defensive abilities of any other tank, and honestly it is pretty easy too. We are gonna see the talents, glyphs, stats, rotations, cooldowns, professions, gems and enchants you're gonna need to become the greatest paladin in the game. This is the standard talent build. I wish I could elaborate on it more, but you simply can't go wrong with this. There is no much room for change. You can swap Seals of the Pure for Word of Glory if you really want to get a little more AoE damage at the cost of single target. It barely matters. For glyphs, we're gonna take this setup right here. We're gonna take Shield of the Righteous because it increases the damage of your Shield of the Righteous by 10%. We're gonna take Hammer of the Righteous, then we are gonna take Seal of Truth. It gives you 10 expertise. Expertise gives you more damage. Then we are gonna take major glyphs, which are gonna give us some additional utility. We're gonna take the glyph of Lay on Hands. This is very important. Your best heal. It reduces the cooldown by 3 minutes. Very, very strong. Then we are gonna take the Glyph of Divine Protection. It gets rid of the 20% physical resistance at the exchange of 40% magic resistance. This one is insane. Once you get the Tolbarad Trinket, you can maybe swap it, but for now this is very important because you do not have a lot of magic resistance as it goes. There is not a lot of good options for a third major glyph. The 3 options you have are Dazing Shield, which slows mobs. You have Holy Rat to stun elementals and Dragon King. It is not useless, but it is not good either. And then you have Glyph of Hammer of Justice. It gives you more range on your stun. It's pretty bad. Yeah, I wish I had a better option, but I don't. Take whatever you want, it doesn't matter. For minor glyphs, we're gonna take the only 2 glyphs that actually affect abilities we are going to use. That is the Blessing of Kings and the Blessing of Might. Now let's focus on the priority stats that you are going to need. I know I've been talking about the boom boom a lot in this channel, but as far as it goes, you really do not need any threat stats because in Cataclysm you can hold threat just fine. Most of the time you got insane threat modifiers now. Besides, your class gets more threat the more tanking stats you get anyway, so if you focus on tanking, you're gonna get threat anyway. First in the list of priority is stamina. Many of your talents multiply off your stamina and there is really no diminishing return from it, so stacking it is always great. Once you feel that you can reliably survive at least 2 hits from a boss, then you focus on Mastery. Mastery increases your chance to block and it grants additional damage reduction. Most of the time this is your best mitigation stat, so you should get Mastery every reforge that you can. As a matter of fact, Mastery is so good that you can take DPS plate gear with Mastery on it, you reforge the other stats of it, and boom, you got a tanking set right there. Once you hit 102.4% avoidance, you go back to stacking stamina. What is avoidance? Avoidance is the sum of your block, dodge and parry chains. Once you hit 102.4%, it is impossible for a boss to land a normal attack on you. Blocking in Cataclysm is a lot better now because instead of blocking a flat amount like you used to, now you block 30% of the hit. So if you hit the avoidance cap, that's gonna mean that at most you are taking 70% of the actual damage. That is insane. Okay, now we're gonna break down how you play the Prot Paladin. Actually, it is pretty easy. Remember to turn your Righteous Fury on, and then you also keep your Seal of Truth on at all times. Single target, you spam Crusader Strike to generate Holy Power. As soon as you have 3 charges of Holy Power, you are gonna drop Shield of the Righteous for a big boom boom. After that, you do Avenger's Shield. Next in the priority is Holy Rat, but it is only usable in the execute phase. Next in the priority is Judgment, and if you still have time left in the rotation somehow, you can still drop a Consecrate. Keep in mind that it drops a lot of your mana, so you should be using it carefully. Okay, AoE is complicated. Psych! It's even easier. First you wanna spam Hammer of the Righteous to generate Holy Power on cooldown. You get 1 charge per enemy hit, so you're gonna get your 3 stacks almost instantly. Then you drop that Holy Power with Inquisition, then you pop Avenger's Shield. After that goes Consecration. And finally you can fill with Holy Rat and Judgment if you got time left up. Now for both the rotations, keep in mind that you're rarely gonna use all the abilities I listed because as a tank, the rotation is easy, but in Cataclysm, tanking is a nightmare. You are gonna be tank swapping constantly and rounding up all the mobs and running from fire and all that neat stuff, and that is gonna constantly interrupt your threat rotation. Not to mention every time you have to pop your defensive cooldowns mid-fight just not to die. And speaking of which, here are all your cooldowns. Holy Shield makes you block 20% more damage for 10 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. It sounds like a lot, but it's only like a 6% damage reduction in reality, so meh. Guardian of Ancient Kings is the Paladin version of Shield Wall, a 50% total damage reduction on 12 seconds on a really short 3-minute cooldown. This ability right here is the main reason why Prot Paladins are so good this expansion. Then you have Ardent Defender, a 20% damage reduction on another 3-minute cooldown with the added benefit of absorbing one hit that would kill you completely. If you know how to use it, this is insanely overpowered. For example, there are some boss mechanics that will one-shot you if you do something wrong, but if you pop it at the right time, you can absorb the one-shot, get a tiny heal of it, and ignore the mechanic completely. As I said before, Divine Protection is gonna be a 40% magic resistance cooldown. This is very important because it is your only lifeline against magic damage. Divine Guardian is, you guessed it, another 20% damage reduction cooldown, this time for your whole raid. This ability is the reason that all raids want a Prot Paladin even if somebody else is the main tank. 20% damage reduction, not only on your tank, but also on everybody else is really important. Word of Glory is an emergency heal. It is useful in some dungeons if your healer is not very good. In raids it is pretty useless. Lay on Hands is a full HP heal almost. 7-minute cooldown with the glyph too. That is very strong. Avenging Rat aka your wings is a 20% damage increase for Big Boom Boom. And finally, Divine Plea gives you some mana and 3 charges of Holy Power, making it really useful for kickstarting a pool or maybe just getting some mana in a pickle. Yeah, that's a Prot Paladin for you. They just have infinite amount of oh crap buttons, and every time they get in trouble they press one of them and they just never die. Choosing the right professions can give you nice bonuses. Blacksmithing and jewel crafting are the best on paper as the free mastery is a lot of value. Engineering gives you 2 separate defensive cooldowns on top of all the utility. And finally, alchemy gives you a nice stamina boost, with leatherworking, enchanting, inscription and mining being a smaller version of the same buff. Now let's talk about gems. As with most other classes in Cataclysm, stacking 1 gem is better than going for the socket bonuses, and this is no exception. So these are the 3 gems you will only use. For meta gem, we are gonna take the Austere Shadow Spirit Diamond for 81 stamina and 2% armor, and then for single stats we're gonna take the solid Deep Holm Lowlight or the Fractured Lightstone, depending on what you wanna stack at the time. Finally, this is a list of all the best enchants. You can get this list in the description. And if you like this video, drop an amen in the comments or may the Lord get you.